Good evening. Verse number 27. To see the ultimate truth, familiarize the mind with right involvement toward phenomena. There is no other dharma so virtuous. So he's basically saying it's really important to see the things as they are. See the things as they are. That is ultimate truth. So here ultimate might refer to a state which is free from elaboration. But here we are primarily talking about selflessness of person. There are two types of selflessness of person and selflessness of phenomena. Out of this, we are primarily talking about selflessness of person, because it's the person towards which we develop this grasping, seeing the person as having inherent independent existence, and which becomes the root cause for samsara, cycle existence. So familiarize the mind with the right involvement. Familiarize the mind with proper engagement. Right involvement means proper engagement, proper mental engagement. Because there cannot be other phenomena so good in knowing than the knowing of the ultimate truth and the selflessness. Of course, generally speaking, all kind of religious practices, they are important, right? They are beneficial, they are important. But your mind properly perceiving and engaging with the object as it is, that knowledge is incomparable to many of other good qualities. Because many other good qualities, like as we discussed, compassion, love, all the patience, tolerance, all this of course are very important. But still, the one which really bothers us is the ignorance, seeing things as having inherent existence. That's the root. So long as you have the root of all the negative emotions, ignorance, even if you undertake the cultivation of some positive practices, that also becomes contaminated, becomes polluted. It will not become a pure virtuous practice. हिंदी में बोलता है ना, जब तक चीज़ को जड़ से नहीं उखाड़ देता, जड़ से, unless you uproot something from the root, then the leaves and branches again will grow. So destroy the root. That's what he's basically saying. So that perception of seeing things as having inherent existence is called ignorance. This is ignorance about reality. Because the reality is such, there is nothing that is inherent existence, but your mind is seeing that. Therefore it is ignorance. Ignorance here means misperception of reality. Reality is that everything is interconnected, interdependent. There is nothing having inherent independent existence. But your confused mind tends to see things as having inherent independent existence. What is impermanent, we tend to see it permanent. What is unclean as clean. What is suffering as happiness. So 4 or 3 misconceptions are there. So therefore you should understand and meditate on various aspects of the truth, ultimate truth, and also other aspects of truth like the Four Noble Truths that we briefly discussed earlier. So I need to finish the text, so I'm not going to spend too much time here. From henceforth the text gives a more elaborate explanation about the 5 stages of the path. Five stages of the path. Path of accumulation, path of application, path of seeing, path of meditation, path of normal learning. Stages. When it comes to becoming Buddha, there is not shortcut. There is no push button enlightenment. Even if you follow the tantric path, which is said to be the quick path, there also you need to follow some stage. एकदम से वो नहीं है, instant coffee, instant tea जैसा नहीं, instant नहीं है, automatic कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है ना? Because our mind is so habituated with, so entrenched with negative emotions. In order to uproot that, it takes time. You need to get habituated. So first it speaks a little bit about the stages of the path of an individual, ordinary individual. And in that connection, so ordinary individual means paths which were related, the first and second path. Then on the third path, which is called path of seeing, where you see, this path is called path of seeing because you see emptiness directly. So that is called path of Aryas, the superior beings. Okay, so first he will explain about the first path, which is related to the path of accumulation. And when you engage in the path of practice of accumulation, you should abide especially in practice of morality and wisdom. One high-born, handsome and learned, yet lacking wisdom and morality is not worthy of respect. One possessing those two qualities but lacking others should be venerated. Very clear, I don't need much explanation. Even if you are born from a very high family, you are very handsome, elegant physically, and also very knowledgeable, learned, but if you still do not have wisdom and morality, then you are not worthy of respect. But one who possesses these two qualities, wisdom and morality, even if like others, you are really worthy of respect. Okay? Next verse. When you are on the path of accumulation, then it's important to equalize the 8 worldly conceptions, 8 worldly dharmas. Equalize the thoughts, misconceptions about the 8 worldly dharmas. The world knower, so the Nagarjuna is addressing his friend king, because he's worldly wise, therefore he's called world knower. World knower. He is not saying dharma knower, he's saying world knower. The world knower said, this is about the Buddha, the world knower who knows everything. The world knower said, the 8 worldly dharmas are gain and loss, happiness and unhappiness, kind and harsh words, praise and blame, exercise equanimity, as these are unworth to enter the mind. So you should not let your mind controlled by the 8 worldly dharmas, which means if you gain something, now this is being said because you might think that So that means gain means if you get able to accumulate some wealth, then you become happy. And if you lose wealth, you become unhappy. If you are physically without illness and mentally also restful, then you develop some kind of happiness. If that is not there, unhappiness. And if you hear other people, one after another, praising you, right? Hear pleasant words, then you feel happy. If somebody says unpleasant things, you feel unhappy. If some people right in front of your eye praises you, you feel happy. Right in front they says nasty things, you feel unhappy. So our mind really becomes like a scale, goes up and down. So it should not be like that. If people praise you, Shantideva in his Bodhicharyavatara says that if people praise you, instead of getting arrogant and happy, you should think that, oh, this person, he knows good things as good. So instead of you getting pleased, you should think, oh, this person knows good things as good. So it's good that he knows some of the good things that I'm doing, so it's good that way. Right? And if somebody says unpleasant things, then that's a learning lesson. If it is true, what he is saying is true, it's a warning. Correct yourself. If it's untrue, okay. He must have got some misinformation about me, saying nasty things. Okay, I didn't do that, so it's okay. Right? Then wealth also, sometimes you get, sometimes you lose. Ups and downs is a part of human life. Today you hear good news, tomorrow you might hear bad news. So if you hear good news, it's all right, you get happy, but don't get too excited, because bad news is waiting. If you hear bad news, you feel sad, but don't get too dejected, because good news is also waiting. It's not that you always hear bad news or you always hear good news. So what he's basically saying is always maintain the balance of the mind. Taraju ka jaise nahi hona chahiye. It should not be like a scale, up and down with slight changes on each side. ठीक है ना? And then praising, what is there? If somebody praises you and says, oh, you really look like Buddha. It looks like you must be Buddha, You're not going to become Buddha, as I said the other day. If somebody says, you are a dog, you don't have to bark. Right? You don't have to bark, you see. So people will always say something. But important thing is, but that doesn't mean, let people say everything. You don't pay attention and do all the nasty things. I'm not saying that. From your side, you try your best. After having done that, if people say things, okay, it's okay, it may be my past karma, whatever, it's okay, let them say that. And in fact, if you're a good practitioner, then instead of praise, you should expect the worst things. Geshe Lhakdor, you know nothing, you're stupid. Yes, sir, I'm stupid. Kahani khatam, story is over. You don't have to fight and try to prove that, no. See, so many people listening to me. I'm so special, Not like that. If you say, you're stupid, you don't know anything, you're so old, still you don't have much knowledge. Thank you, that's absolutely true. I hardly know anything, which is true. So therefore, even the Buddha said, when does your study finish? Your study finishes only you become completely enlightened, which we are not. I remember one of our Tibetan Prime Minister, Samdho Rinpoche, after his Prime Ministership for, 2 terms, 8 years. And then he said, when he finished his term, he said, I tried my best, but I don't have much knowledge, I don't have much capacity, so I must have done so many things which you did not like. So ask for your forgiveness. He never said, during my tenure, I did this, I did that, I did this. And he's saying, this is for people to watch. That's the greatness, you see. So therefore, it is said that Mensa Kungme Densai, observing a low place, is actually the way to reach higher place. Right? So that's what he's saying. Happiness, unhappiness, kind words, harsh words, praise and blame, whichever occurs, exercise equanimity. And you can also think like that, if somebody praises you, don't feel too happy, because there are some other people who are saying bad things about you. If some people are saying bad things about you, don't get too dejected. You also have friends and other things who are saying many good things about you. So the important thing is, you should not become a Kathputli. You should not become a puppet. Puppet, you know? So somebody pulls the string and then you have to dance accordingly. You have no control over yourself. Should not be like that. If your mind becomes like a... Therefore, in one of the Mahayana texts it says that your mind should not be like a cotton ball of cotton, or should not be like a feather, bird's feather. So with this bird's feather, because it is so light, with a slight blow of wind, it will be tossed around in all directions. So your mind should not be like that. If your mind is like that and you keep on listening to everybody, you will be miserable. ये भी मुझे बोल रहा है, वो भी मुझे बोल रहा है. Then you can't. This is, what many people are suffering today. They pay too much attention to other people. मुझे कौन सा कपड़ा पहनना चाहिए? If I wear this color of cloth, will people like me or not? If I walk like this, will people like me or not? Right? You're just so concerned about other people. Not necessarily in a good way, but for your name, reputation, things like that. ठीक है ना? Then the person on the path of accumulation should practice the law of karma, adopt what needs to be adopted and give up what needs to be given up. Do not commit sins for the sake of Brahmins, monks, gods, guests, parents, queens or retinue. They will not be able to share the smallest part of the result of hell. That means you might say, okay, if I do certain bad things for myself, it is bad, but if I do something for others, दूसरों के लिए थोड़ा सा चोरी कर लेते हैं. For others, I should commit little bit theft. Robinson Crusoe ने किया था ना, उसी तरह. If you think like that, the text says, no. Do not commit sins even for the sake of Brahmins, monks, gods, guests, parents, queens, because the result of your wrongdoing, only you will have to experience. They will not be able to share it. There is a story of a gentleman who was a hunter. So he was hunting animals and killing them. Then somebody said, this is very sinful. You alone will have to experience the result. Then he said, why me alone? I'm doing this for my family. So my family will share the negative result. And especially my wife, I'm 100% sure she will share the negative result. Then that gentleman said, no, it's impossible. If you don't believe me, ask your wife. So he goes to the wife and says that this is what this person said, but I know you love me, you care about me, I'm definite that you will share. So the wife said, don't be stupid. If it is something I can share, of course I'll share, but impossible to share. That's the thing, you see. Right? So that's what he's saying. And then sometimes we engage in some negative deeds thinking that because the result does not come up immediately, so then we think it's okay. Many times we do that. I will do that, no problem. Police has not seen it. Police has not seen it. Or I'm not able to experience the result, so it's okay, chalega. अभी तक मैं करता रहा, कुछ नहीं हुआ, ऐसे भी हम लोग बोलते हैं ना. So, he says, the fruit may not be there immediately, but still you need to give up negative deeds. Although performing sinful actions will not instantly cut you like a weapon, but the results of sinful action will manifest when the time of death arrives. How? Because if you commit a negative deed, where your mental negative thinking is involved, then it leaves an imprint on the mind. And it does not get eliminated or erased unless you undertake some very strong positive counter forces. So normally the example that I give is, if you record a song and also record two people fighting and shouting, you record it on your cassette. Having recorded it, can you see with your naked eye what is there? Can you see? No, you can't see. You are not being able to see, that doesn't mean it's not there. So put the cassette back into the tape recorder and push the play button. What will come out? If you had recorded beautiful song, you will enjoy. Listen to that song, you will enjoy. If you listen to that fighting and shouting and yelling, you will hear that again and you feel miserable, unhappy. So this is like that. It doesn't get erased. This is the example. And especially, he's instructing to actualize the 7 wealth of a superior being, Arya, Phakwe Nordu. Phakwe Nordu. So these 7 wealths are wealth of noble beings. As
I have a doubt.
yeah.
It says one of the 7 noble treasures is shame. Why shame?
Yeah, wait. Don't jump the gun. We are coming there. So 7 treasures of wealth of a superior being. He's using the word superior being. For ordinary people like us, our wealth is what? Money, clothes. For superior being, the 7 wealth is faith, morality, giving, generosity, learning, and then sense of shame and sense of embarrassment. Sense of shame means that if you're about to commit certain negative things, then you stop doing that by thinking, oh, I can't do this. I'm an Indian. I can't do this because I believe in religion. I can't do this because I belong to such and such parents. So there is shame. And if you're about to commit some negative thing, then you refrain from doing it by thinking about what others will say. One, your own reason. Second, another's reason. That's called, there is no right English word. So we call it, sometimes we use the word embarrassment, but other occasions we use the word concern for others. Concern for others. What he has used it here. Learning, stainless, shame, self-restraint. It's not a very good translation. There's, as I said, there's no proper word. Shame and concern for others. Okay? And wisdom. Recognize other common treasures as meaningless. As I said, other common wealth treasures like money, clothes, food, these things are meaningless comparing to this 7 treasures. So if you really want to become rich, then possess these 7 qualities. And especially in today's world, Nagarjuna in his Ratnavali says, the world is sustained by 2 qualities, shame and concern for others. If you have shame and concern for others, you will stop doing many negative things. All right? Then, so by abiding with this practice of shame and concern for others, it's important that you stop engaging in many negative activities. And in addition to that, you should also give up these 6 ways of life which will bring bad name for you. What are these 6? Gambling. Gambling, so many different types of gamblings are there. Then watching crowds. There is a circus, or there are some dances and other things are going. Too many people are gathering there. You are an ordinary person, occasionally you might go, but if you are more sincere practitioner, it is advised not to go there. That is what he's saying. He's not saying don't enjoy life. these days what happens is sometimes you join a big crowd, then there is a bomb explosion. So generally not good. And if you join big crowd, sometimes you get COVID-19 or at least flu and the cold, which makes sense, So be careful. And if you go there, go, but be very careful. Shantideva in his Bodhicharyavatara says, just as when you go in a crowd, if you have wound here, you be very careful that nobody touches the wound. So similarly, watch your mind. Okay? Watching crowds. Then laziness, of course. If you are lazy, you can't develop any positive quality. Laziness is of different types. One laziness is laziness, not doing anything, sitting there. That's laziness, as we normally understand. Another kind of laziness is attached to inferior things, inferior activities, not doing the more positive, better activities, but being attached with inferior activities. जो करना चाहिए वो नहीं कर रहा, जो नहीं करना चाहिए वो कर रहा. There's also laziness. Then another kind of laziness is looking down upon yourself. This project and this activity is important, but I am not intelligent, I don't have the capacity, how can I do it? You look down upon yourself. You discourage yourself, that's also laziness. And another laziness is called procrastination, which means this has to be done, but not today. Today I have to go and watch a cinema. Tomorrow I will do it. Tomorrow comes, then you say, oh no, tomorrow I have some work, so I'll do this practice when I go to Dharamsala. Something like procrastination. So they mean all these kind of lazinesses are not good. Laziness, relying on evil company, because we are all ordinary people. You are very strongly influenced and affected by evil company, or whatever company it is. You are very strongly influenced by it. And these days, if you are in the company of an evil person, many of these evil persons relatively rich, they have money. So they'll tell you, okay, let us go here. Don't worry, I'll spend the money. Let us go there and kill these people, shoot these people, I give you this much money. Something like that, you see. Or those people who always talk about negative things, complaining, backbiting, saying bad things about the other people, then you also pick up those habits. Liquor, we discussed yesterday, intoxicant. You don't have to get intoxicated because you are already intoxicated. And going about night, these days, so-called in the so-called modern world, things are topsy-turvy. Night, ulu ki tarah sota nahi hai. Like owl, we don't sleep in the night, right? And then day in, nobody is waking up. Huh? So we are trying to go against the nature. And then also the text says, out of many reasons that you stroll and go in the night, one may be you are going around for sex, finding women, finding men. Right? So even otherwise, going alone in the night is very risky also. Chor, dakeda, stealing, robbery, many of these things happen in the night.
Many people are working in night shifts 24/7 and work environment.
I have told them not to go. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah. But I'm saying is, if you have to do certain things properly, that's okay. But without much reason, just strolling, going around in the night, that's what he's saying. Okay? Then, fifth point that he's addressing is instructing to be contented with the things you have. Now, with regard to contentment, if you are somebody who is not contented although you have all the basic necessities, but you are not contented because you are looking for more pompous life. I have a car, ordinary car, but I want a Mercedes car. I have a house, but that has only 3 bedrooms. I need 6 bedrooms. You're really looking for, what you call as higher status things. So that is called one with great desire, one with very strong desire, having no contentment. Then there are others who, although have all these great facilities at one's disposal, but you still want to have more. So that is called having no contentment. So counter force and antidote to that is contentment. So therefore he is saying the teacher of gods and men, which is Buddha, the teacher of gods and men, the Buddha described contentment as the greatest of riches. Briefly I explained this earlier, how much is how much, how many shoes you want, as I explained earlier. Remain contented always, because the more you have this discontentment, the more you need to buy everything. Whatever is flooding in the market, in the malls, you want to buy everything. The more you want to buy everything, the more you want money. The more you want money, the more you have to walk like a donkey. Right? So therefore you become a slave to all these things. So there should be somewhere, there should be some contentment. बच्चे लिमिट में रहो बोलते हैं हम लोग लिमिट में रहो should be contented, because if you are contented, and the unfortunate thing is with doing good things we are already contented. Doing dharma practice we are contented. For 2 days I went to Buddhist workshop. कौन सा तीर मार दिया So contented. For other things, no contentment. That's the problem. So therefore he is saying, be contented. Contentment is the greatest of riches. Remain contented always. To know contentment is perfect wealth, even without material things. For example, that is a little bit difficult, even completely without material wealth is very difficult. But there were people like Milarepa. How many of you read Milarepa? Some of you, yeah, Milarepa. Milarepa is the most famous Siddhi, sadhu or Siddhi or whatever you call it, in Tibetan Buddhism. It's a long story, very interesting story, you should read it. And he had virtually nothing. Nothing means nothing. Now we listen to his story or read his story, we can't believe. He remained naked in the cold snow mountains of Tibet. And his food was nettle. Nettle hai na, nettle. Only. It is said that he ate so much nettle that his body was completely green. And he meditated in the cave. And he had nothing. And one day he was meditating, and then some thieves in the night came, groping in the darkness. And he laughed and smiled and said, what do you hope to get anything in the pitch dark night when I don't see anything in the broad daylight? So he has nothing. Now from our purview, this looks like a story, not a reality, right? If we measure things with our way of thinking. But I'm telling you, I have seen the students of one Tibetan teacher who lived in Dalhousie after he escaped from Tibet. And he is nicknamed as Modern Milarepa. He was an accomplished teacher, master, and when it was his turn to get the highest degree, Geshe Lhakdor degree, he ran away, saying that what I have to do with this recognition, this examination. I have studied well, that's it. Now I want to do my practice. Anyway, so he ended up in Dalhousie. So I did not see him, but I saw his 5-6 students. There was one nun also. They virtually had nothing, believe me. I saw it with my naked eyes. Unfortunately, I didn't take photo. They had these piles of stone, which is their house, with one canvas rooftop, and inside nothing, except their rugged, worn-out cloth wrapped around them. And there was an English lady who wanted to give them some money. At that time, 100 rupees a lot, so give 100 rupees. Except one, all of them refused. Ye kagaj hum kya karega? What I am to do with this? I may be dead tomorrow. I've seen this, I'm telling you. So the people around, they sometimes offer some cooked food, then they eat it. If it is uncooked, then they'll say, okay, keep it there. It will be rotting there. Right? So people's determination, if you have the determination, you can do so many things. So that's why to know contentment is, there is also quotation from the Buddha where he says, I'm happy because I have nothing. I'm happy because I have nothing. As opposed to what we think. We will say, I'm very sad because I have nothing, right? And Buddha was saying, I'm happy because I have nothing. Because if you have very less wealth and collection, you're free completely. Right? So not easy, but if you lessen your greed and lessen your collection, you may not be able to completely do away with these things, but if you lessen your need and accumulation, your life will be much more happier and freer, and you can devote your time for many other good things. But for that, your mind should be really ready. Otherwise, I told you that story of a person living at the same time with Milarepa, who was so inspired by Milarepa, and he said, I should really follow him, and threw away all his collections. After 2-3 days, he started suffering, because he is not Milarepa. His mind is not like Milarepa. Then after 2-3 days, he started suffering. Then he said, this Milarepa, not only he is a beggar, he also made me a beggar. So I'm not saying throw everything away, but lessen the collection. Lessen the collection, you will be happier. Another instruction to have less desire. Gentle one, he is addressing the king. Gentle one, just as those who own much suffer, just as those who own, the translation is really not so. Just as those who own suffer much or much suffer, he is saying something like this. Just as those who own more suffer more, those with few desires do not suffer much. Just he gives the example. Great Nagas have as many sufferings as heads which produce them. So that basically means it is said that the Naga kings, they had like hundreds of heads. And it said that the Naga king basically means something like snake. So it is said they also on the head they have some precious gems. So there is a fear that they will be killed. Or otherwise, because they have so many heads, one head is healthy and okay, the other head is suffering, bleeding. Right? The head on the side is okay, the middle one is suffering. Because you have so many heads. If you have one head, there's less possibility for such suffering. So similarly in our life also, if you are a very rich person, have many things, and in terms of your relationship also, if you have like 10 brothers, 10 sisters, things like that, बहुत बड़ा family बोल करके सीना तान के चलेगा हम लोग, very big family, and you feel very proud. But then unfortunately you hear sister is not well, sister is well, brother is not well, brother, sister are well, father is not well, mother is not well. So nothing comes value free. The more you have, the more actually you have suffering and problem. So that's about what he's saying. Then next is from the perspective of a lay person on the path of accumulation. He's instructing to give up bad wife, again wife. Why not bad husband? So you should, think it in a similar way. So he is saying, a wife who like an executioner associate naturally with enemies. There are some wives like that. Then there are some who like a queen scorns her mate. रानी बार के बैठा है वहाँ घर में. इसको हिंदी में ठीक से ट्रांसलेट करने से कितना अच्छा होगा ना. बहुत बढ़िया. तो मैं करूँगा इसको. अरे क्या रानी बन के बैठा है. हाँ? और चोर है ना नीचे. Who like a thief takes even small things. Avoid these three types of wife. Similarly, ladies should come up with similar words for men. And then the good ones, not always bad, good ones, good wife. A wife who is like a sister is harmonious. Harmonious means in agreement with your thinking. Who like a girlfriend is dear to your heart. Girlfriend not always dear to your heart, but let us say good girlfriend. Who like a mother wishes your benefit. And who like a servant, this you may not like, distasteful, right? Like a servant, as I said, Bodhisattva was a servant. Who like a servant obeys should be honored as a family god. Honored as a family god. You are happy now. Honored as a family god. Right? But having said that, you see, Buddhism came from India. All religious practice, including Buddhism, has influence of the prevalent culture there. So here and there you can clearly see the male is more dominant than the women. So they are saying the women should do like this, not do like this, not so much about men. And it looks like that the Buddha understood this very clearly. Then in the Kalachakra Tantra, which is one of the latest Tantra, he looks like he's bringing about some reformation. So after receiving a certain tantric vow, then there are certain precepts that you need to follow. There the Buddha says, if you say bad things to the women, it is infraction. It doesn't say anything about men. You want to say bad things to the men, say it. Almost something like that. So it looks like he's really correcting that cultural influence. Cultural influence is always there in all religious traditions because these are all man-made things. Right? Then the next is, because we eat all the time, so how you should eat properly? That's what he's saying. The food properly, take food properly like medicine, without desire or hatred, not for pride, not for robustness, not for beauty, but only to sustain the body. So in the Buddhist text it says, when you take food, it should be taken as a medicine. Medicine means you will not look for the taste. Medicine means you will not eat too much medicine, just the right amount, right? So similarly, food also right amount, not too much, not too little, right? And not for like robustness and things like that. And similarly, in the Buddhist text it says, with the cloth also, you should consider cloth as like a bandage for the wound. This body actually is like a wound. So don't develop a kind of arrogance with the body, with the cloth, changing the clothes, the different new latest fashion, then you develop like attachment, things like that. This is discouraged. But these days even bandage, very beautiful bandage in the Western countries. So we always want to hide the ugly side, pretend that all is good, right? So I'm not, worried about enjoying a little bit here and there, but the important thing is you should understand the most important, profound concept behind all these teachings, right? Then, If you are a serious practitioner, then the time to practice is the first part of dawn and last, can we say last part of the dawn, something like that? Dawn.
Which would be the last period.
Yeah. So basically saying get up a little bit early. Little bit early. And also a little bit late for sleeping. And engage in your yoga practice. Occupy yourself with the essence of knowledge during the whole day and the first and the last period of the night. Contemplate mindfully until even your period of sleep is not. So the translation is very bumpy. So, but what he's saying is, occupy yourself with the essence of knowledge during the whole day and the first and last period of night. Contemplate mindfully so that even your sleep becomes meaningful. That's what he's saying. So in order to make your sleep meaningful means sleep itself is neither virtuous nor non-virtuous, neither good nor bad in the spiritual sense. But you can transform it. If just before sleeping, if you contemplate on the meaning of some of these teachings, and then while contemplating, if you fall asleep, there is every likelihood that you will continue to remember it in the whole night. And sometimes, so interesting, sometimes, if it is a verse that you are contemplating and could not get a good meaning, then you go to sleep, then in the dream you get the meaning. Not always, sometimes it happens. Because during the sleep, in the dream, your mind is very sharp. So you get new interpretations, new meaning. It's very important. And instead of engaging in this virtuous practice just before sleeping, if you watch a horror movie of violence and other things, you will repeat it the rest of the night. And if you get addicted to it, you will repeat it for the next lives also. So which is not good. So therefore he's teaching a way where you are able to do your spiritual practice both day and night. Both day and night. क्या है हुआ टाइम ठीक है अभी है. Then he is talking about practices related to the second path, the path of application. So first he talks about what are the causes for actualizing that second path, the path of application. And in this regard, first he gives the instruction to meditate on the four immeasurable qualities. The four dhyanas, contemplations, thoroughly renouncing sensory pleasure. Sorry. The verse 40. Constantly meditate upon loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Loving kindness means wishing that others meet with happiness. Compassion meaning wishing others be free from suffering. Joy means wishing that people who have met with happiness be never separated from that happiness. Equanimity means you don't favor some of your relatives and close ones. You don't despise and distance yourself from those that you don't like. Feeling of equanimity. So in terms of explanation, compassion and joy, these are explained first. But in terms of your actual practice, equanimity should be first. Because unless you prepare the ground, when we cultivate a land, first the land should be leveled. Then on that you plant the seed and water it, and then the sprout and the seedlings will grow, right? So that's important. So ordinarily our mind is uneven. For our friends, relatives, we feel very close. For enemies, we distance ourselves, reject them. For neutral sentient beings, I don't care. Neither good nor bad, I don't care. So that should not be there, because all sentient beings have acted as your brothers, sisters, parents, many, many lives to come. All sentient beings are same in wanting happiness, not wanting suffering. So therefore, maintain this mental equanimity. All right? The second point related to the path of education is instructing you to meditate on the four concentrations, four meditative concentrations. The four dhyanas, contemplations, thoroughly renouncing sensory pleasure, joy, happiness, suffering, is equal to the attainment of Brahma, clear light, pervading virtue, and great result. So this is a little bit complex. I am not going to bother my head here, and I am not also going to bother your head here. It's a little bit complex and takes a lot of time. But basically what he's saying is, when you engage in these four concentrations, then you aspire the higher concentrations, you see the qualities of the higher concentration, shortcomings of the lower concentration. Then you move from one concentration to the another concentration by removing some of the faults that you see. This is how you reach there, four dhyanas. Thoroughly renouncing sensory. So, I don't know, I have written somewhere here just for your information. So, dhyana 1, first concentration. First concentration. The text says, the four dhyanas thoroughly renouncing. Renouncing what? In the first level of concentration, you renounce sensual pleasures. Right? Sensual pleasures, non-virtue states of mind. What is present is investigation, analysis, joy, bliss, bond of seclusion, they are all there. Then when you engage, can enter into the second contemplation, you even see investigation, analysis disturbing to the mind, which was there in the first level of the concentration. So therefore you abandon investigation, analysis, and what is present there is internal stillness, one-pointedness of mind, joy, bliss of concentration. Then when you reach this third concentration, joy, you see joy also as disturbance to the mind, you also give up joy, and what is present is equanimity, mindfulness, introspective awareness, bliss experienced by body. Then when you reach the fourth level concentration, then bliss of body and pain and joy and displeasure, they are also disturbance. So that is not present there. So what is present there is neither pain nor pleasure, purity of mindfulness, equanimity, mind is purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, steady, things like that, briefly speaking. So it will take time. When I was studying in the Buddhist School of Dialectics, other things also, there were certain topics which are not easy. And also I directly don't see connection to my day-to-day practice. So I didn't pay much attention. And so it is waste of time to try to explain it. But I briefly explained what are they. Then the third topic related to the path of application is Nagarjuna is instructing you, advising you to practice virtuous practice, to empower, to strengthen your virtuous practice. Strengthen your virtuous practice. Right? Great virtue and non-virtue. So he's saying whether it's great virtue, non-virtue, they arise from 5 factors. Great virtue, and great. Great means great virtue, but I can't say great non-virtue, right? Strong virtue and strong non-virtue, something like that. Strong virtue, strong non-virtue, they arise from 5. If it is a virtuous thing, if you do it constantly, right? And so let me I am not so comfortable with the translation. So, whether it's positive or negative, if you do it constantly, it will become strong, number one. Second, not clinging. Clinging is not right word. Second, if you have some kind of aspiration, maybe something like clinging towards the virtuous thing or non-virtuous thing, it becomes strong. Some kind of clinging means the wish to do, if that is there. Third, lack of remedy. This also I cannot apply with the positive qualities, because we don't have remedy for antidote for positive qualities. But what he's saying is the opposing factor. Right? So which means lack of remedy means if you commit a negative deed and after that you don't develop positive counter force, then that negative deed will become strong. Similarly, if you perform something positive, then later on we don't use the word counter force or remedy, but you develop a positive practice, and after that, if you almost like the counter force, if you start thinking, oh, I did this, it was waste of time, right? So that will make that virtuous practice weak. So that kind of thinking should not be there. That's what he's saying. And Nyembume. Not base of kindness. He's saying that so he's saying not base of kindness. He's saying base of somebody possessing qualities. Base of, he used the word base of kindness, but the text is actually saying people with qualities, people with learning, knowledge, higher learning, higher knowledge, just like an Arya. Or even if you're an ordinary person, you possess morality, right? Possess morality. Or you may have a lot of knowledge, a lot of learning, and possessing very strong meditative stabilization, and you're benefiting many people, things like that. So with regard to this person, if you do good things, for example, bodhisattva, if you develop positive attitude towards bodhisattva, it's very strong virtue state. If you develop negative deeds, say for example with His Holiness, we believe he is a very special, great teacher. So if you develop negative emotion with that person, the result will be more destructive. Because the reason is because that person is benefiting so many people, and you are tarnishing his image, which is happening right now. Many people trying to do it. The Dalai Lama's name came 160 times with the Epstein file. What does that mean? And people are so stupid, they are sharing this. I don't know what they are trying to do, what they are trying to achieve. So like that, it's very... Then the way the Chinese deal with His Holiness Dalai Lama, calling him counter-revolutionary, monk in the wolf's cloth. So from our perspective, that is very sinful. Right? Then, so those who are the source of great qualities and those who are source of kindness, benefiting many people. And one might, here he says, one might start thinking that even if you performed very strong virtuous deeds, but if it get mixed with non-virtuous deeds, which happens with us all the time, then it will not be a pure practice. There will be negative result. If you worry and think like that, then he says, the beauty of doing a very strong positive deed is that it cannot be easily destroyed by negative influences. And therefore he gives a very beautiful example here. A small measure of salt can change the taste of little water, but not that of the Ganges river, in a big ocean. In a big ocean, you just put a few pinches of salt, no problem. So similarly, if you are somebody who is really doing this, the motivation is good, the actual deed is good, the conclusion is good, if that way, if you really do very strong religious practices, then here and there, as an ordinary person, you slip and commit certain small problems, small mistakes, it will not affect much. A little, of course, but not much. Understand the similarity of a small evil act in comparison to a large root of virtue. You cannot, affect it very strongly. Where are we now? Maybe finish few more. The fourth point is instructing to give up the 5 obstructions. Scattering. He uses the word scattering, but we use the word excitement. Excitement, regret, then malice or what? Malice or malice? Malice, which means harmful intention. Okay, then sometimes we use the word dullness, also sometimes torpor, mental torpor, dullness, and sleep. Sleep again is coming here. Be careful. Sleep. And attachment and doubt. Beware these 5 obscurations as thieves who steal the wealth of virtue. So these are thieves, obscurations. So be careful, remain alert. So the first one, excitement, means you are not able to focus on your meditation for your spiritual practice. You mentally get so excited and then mind goes away. You may be sitting on the meditation seat, but your mind is picnicking somewhere. Excitement, that is an obstruction, right? And then regret means having done something good, instead of rejoicing, you might regret, right? It's also possible in today's world. For example, if you say, go to Dharamsala for 5 days teaching on bodhicitta and things like that, then later if you are unable to pick up many things and things like, you might start thinking, oh, I wish I did not go there. I hadn't gone there. I could have worked for 5 days and I'll earn my salary and also the expenses for travel, flight and all those things, hotel and all those things. I could have saved all these things. So you might regret. That's wrong. If you have done something negative, bad, then you should regret, not something positive that you have done. Regret. Then harmful intention, dullness, sleep, attachment, doubt, all these things you are very, very, very well. Okay. Then he explains the actual path of application and some digression. Earnestly perform the 5 excellent dharmas. What are they? Faith. Vigor means effort. Then mindfulness. Mindfulness means making your mind stay on the object. And wisdom. Meditative stabilization and wisdom. Exert or work hard oneself in these 5 practices, which are also strengths, powers and summits. That means strength, power and summit. When you proceed from one level to another level, then they are termed, they are given different names. because the path of application also has 4 divisions. Heat, first is called heat, second is called peak, third is called forbearance, fourth is called supreme dharma. So,
What does samadhi mean here? He says 5 excellent dharma samadhi. I
Uh,
don't understand.
what? Samadhi, concentration. Concentration. So when he uses the word which are also strengths, powers and summit, strength here, although I am not so happy with these words, but basically when he uses the word strength, which means when you are able to have full control over the object towards which you are thinking and visualizing, that then you have gained that strength. Meaning that, for example, if you are meditating on faith, then you will feel as if all your minds are transformed into faith. So that's called strength. Or, for example, if you meditate on selflessness by the wisdom mind, then it looks like that all your mind is meditating on selflessness. If you reach such a level, then that's called strength. Then the next, strength and power. Power means possessing the power. Here not only you gain control over your object, but you will not also be overpowered by opposing negative forces. There's the meaning. Opposing forces means, in the case of somebody meditating on faith, then opposing force is lack of faith. If you're meditating on effort, perseverance, then the opposing force is laziness. And if you're meditating on mindfulness, the opposite is forgetfulness. If you're meditating on one-pointed meditation, then the opposing force is distraction. Right? So something like that. Okay, now I stop here, ask some questions. Any questions? Yes.
Geshe, that I am particularly talking about the verse number 32 and 33. So in this verse, there is a lot of concern about the laziness. So is
Concern about what?
laziness.
Laziness, yes.
So while we do self-introspection, and we find a lot of negative things about us, about our own. So, and through this process, we slip on the negative sides of us, like we are not good, we are not honest, and we don't, like, on the physical things. So is it also the laziness part?
What? Say that again.
I am asking that while we do the self-introspection,
Yeah.
so while undergoing the process of self-introspection,
Yeah.
we go into the negative paths, like we are not a honest person, we are not...
No. You're not going into the negative side. You are simply seeing the negative side. You are not going. When you introspect, you see good things, you see bad things. It's not going. So through introspection, when you see that you have those negative aspects, then try to change that. If you see positive things, appreciate and then try to continue with that practice. So therefore introspection or mindfulness or conscientiousness, they are important in that sense.
Thank you, Shila.
Yeah. Because I may or may not have explained this to you. I told you this story of Western nun who came to me and said, Geshe-la, before I meditated, I was a nice person. After I meditate, I become a bad person, which is not true. But the thing is, before you meditate, you have no idea what is coming, what is going in your mind. Your doors and windows, everything open. Now, because you have started meditating, then you see who are coming. Then, when you see who is coming, you primarily see anger is coming, jealousy is coming, distraction is coming, laziness is coming. You see a host of negative emotions are coming. Because of that, then you start feeling, oh, after meditating, I become a bad person. Which is not true, because this is a good start. You have at least now started seeing what is coming in your mind. So the next step is, when these negative things are coming, you should say, no. Chokidar rakho abhi. Keep a guard and tell them, give them instruction. If this gentleman called anger or jealousy, attachment coming, बोलना मैं घर में नहीं है. लेकिन ऐसा मत बोलना. एक छोटा बच्चा नीचे था, उधर किसी ने बोला कि मम्मी है, तो मम्मी ने बोला मैं घर में नहीं है बोलो. So not like that. Not like that. Right? And then the other positive emotions like compassion, wisdom, things like that, if they are coming, then say, please welcome. I'm sorry I did not recognize you because you did not give me your address card. I did not know you're so important. Now I realize you're so important. Please come. Sit in the headquarters of my mind, have a nice cup of tea, whatever, things like that. Really. So Dharma practice is nothing but making friendship with the positive emotions and distancing yourself from negative emotions. Okay? Next. Yes.
सर 45 जी सर इसमें
45
जी 45 वर्सेस
अच्छा
5 एक्सीलेंट धर्मा की बात की गई है.
हाँ
5 एक्सीलेंट धर्मा
45 नहीं हो. अच्छा ओके या 45 या
जी. फेथ, वेगर, माइंडफुलनेस, समाधि, विजडम.
या
ये सब वर्ड तो पढ़ने में अच्छा लगता है पर अचीव करना मुश्किल है.
हाँ मुश्किल, सब कुछ मुश्किल है. खाना भी मुश्किल है, काम करना भी मुश्किल है. So the first thing that you need to do is drive away this thinking that it is difficult. There's nothing that doesn't become easy when you make your mind habituated with it. I'll tell you a story of two people. And especially there was one who may be a little bit weak, the another one very strong, and that person's sworn enemy. He used to tremble just by the name of that enemy. But with change of time, unfortunately, that enemy became his neighbor. अब क्या करेंगे भाई? Now I can't sleep also. ये यहाँ आ गया. But because of the situation, you can't just run away immediately, right? But the thing you can do is, sometimes you go out, he also go out, you cross your path, but you make sure that you don't smile or talk to that person, pretend that you have not seen him, things like that. How many times you can do it? So one day gradually you just give a nod, not saying good morning, hello, but just give a nod. At least you acknowledge his presence. He also does the same thing. Then gradually when you find that he is not that bad as I thought, then you say good morning. He also says good morning. Then gradually you start talking. Then you become more friendly, so much so that you start inviting to each other's room, offering lunch, dinner, tea, whatever. And then gradually, by living together, you become such a good friend that the same person, the enemy, whose name you used to feel threatened, now this person, you can't live without this person even for a second. Change. Habituation. है ना? So the important thing is you need to, instead of running away right from the beginning, you should think about the good things with faith and wisdom, things like that. Then you should, oh, this is, अभी मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है, इतना पैसा नहीं, I don't have enough money, but I should really buy this faith. Something like that. You know, this, if you see these as commodities, है ना? जैसे जाता है ना हम लोग, when we visit a mall and the big shop, there are so many, you know, interesting things that you want, but you don't have enough money. But you never say that, oh, this is like so pricey, you know, I don't like to talk about it. If it is something that you really need, then you will say, yes, I don't have money right now, but I'll collect money and make sure that I'll get it. Something like that. It takes time. It takes time.
और सेकंड है इसी से मिलता जुलता,
Yeah.
मैंने विपासना किया था।
हाँ.
तो जैसे ही हम अपने निगेटिव विचारों को, आइडियाज़ को ऑब्जर्व करते हैं,
हाँ.
तो पॉजिटिव को तो खुशी मिलती है, निगेटिव को तो में पेन होता है।
हाँ?
पेन मतलब कि खुद के ही माइंड को ऑब्जर्व करने के बाद एक अजीब सी मुश्किल पैदा हो जाती है
हाँ.
कि मेरे दिमाग में भी ऐसा है। तो फिर एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सा क्रिएट हो जाता है कि अब इसके साथ डील कैसे करें,
माइंड के साथ,
निगेटिव इमोशन के साथ।
हाँ?
जो नेगेटिव
इमोशन के साथ, हाँ, हाँ. So I give you the example, like dealing with the enemy. Negative emotions are your enemy, right? So you see, for example, poison. When you know poison is poison, will you take it? That's it. Because you're convinced that poison will kill you, so therefore you will never take it, even if others tell you take it. So similarly, when you have full conviction about the destructiveness of anger and jealousy and so forth as a poison, then you will be able to distance yourself from them. Not at one go, because you are addicted to it. Rehabilitation center में जाना पड़ेगा. Those you know, alcoholic anonymous, you know, training, you need to undergo something like that, you know. Then gradually you will be able to. It is not easy, as I mentioned earlier. These negative emotions are very strongly entrenched within you. बहुत जोर पकड़ के बैठा हुआ नीचे, एकदम से नहीं हटा सकेगा. धीरे धीरे इधर से थोड़ा खोदो, इधर से थोड़ा खोदो, थोड़ा हिलाओ, फिर बारिश आएगा, ये भी होगा, फिर धीरे धीरे जंग भी लग जाएगा, वो फिर तुम निकल सकते हो उसको.
एकदम ठग ऑफ वार हो जाता है, जैसे ठग ऑफ वार, जैसे रस्सी हम खींचते हैं ना.
खींचना नहीं. Don't side with negative. Actually, there is a book, you know, it's very interesting. There is a big debate between self-grasping and wisdom realizing emptiness. Self-grasping or self-cherishing attitude, self-grasping. So there is a big debate. लड़ाई हो जाता है दोनों में. And then the self-grasping says, with what kind of friend you are going? Because when we start doing dharma practice and talk about wisdom, understanding, emptiness, वो तो हमारा नया friend हुआ ना. Because we are not so habituated and familiar with that friend, like compassion, wisdom, understanding, emptiness. So when we make this effort to make friendship and go with wisdom, understanding, emptiness, the self-grasping says, what are you doing? You have always been with me. It is me who has been feeding you. It's me who has been finding job. It's me defending you from other people's attacks, exploitations. To some extent, this is what is happening, self-grasping, then you, in order to protect it, you engage in all kinds of stupid, negative. This is what he's saying. What did you get this from this stupid new friend? Wisdom, understanding, emptiness. So there's a big debate between them. It's very interesting. There's a book. I think its English translation is also available. If you're interested, email me. I have that copy, soft copy I have somewhere. So it's like that. You see, so to some extent you're right. Their fighting is there, but still you need to decide on which side you should side. ठीक है ना? Because if you side with anger, jealousy, thinking that this is part of my life, then you can't change, you can't make progress. So therefore side with the positive emotions. Because for countless lives we have been with the negative emotions, and that's why the present situation. Right? So personify these negative emotions, personify these positive emotions. And then think. This is very helpful. So I'll explain this a little bit, whatever be the time. I don't care. Okay. So when we do dharma practice, what we are doing is, as he was saying, on one side we have the positive emotions, including lot of positive emotions, and the boss, the president and prime minister of those positive emotions is the prime minister is, I should say, wisdom, understanding, emptiness. The president is bodhicitta, something like that. One political party or one class. Then the another class is the class of the negative emotions. And the president and prime minister, the president is ignorance, self-grasping attitude. The prime minister, the other way around maybe. So the prime minister, let us say the prime minister, if it is, depends which country, in which country you live. So let us say the prime minister is the ignorance, and the president is self-cherishing attitude. So our present state is that out of these two political parties, the negative political party of self-grasping and, the ignorance and self-cherishing attitude, they not only won, but they won with landslide majority. So they've already captured the headquarters of our mind. There's no challenge. Opposition party is nowhere to be seen because we don't practice. Right? So maje se rule, tanashahi ban ki bethai. They become dictators and reciting peacefully, stretching their legs, sipping cup of coffee, watching nice movie, something like that, because there's no challenge at all. There's no challenge because we don't practice. So when we engage in Buddhist practice, what we are saying is, enough. Enough of your misrule. Now we are going to dethrone you. And our new Prime Minister is wisdom, understanding, emptiness, and President is bodhicitta, right? And then plus we have many other good ministers, loving kindness, patience, and so many things. So with this is our party, we are going to dethrone it. That's what you're doing when you do practice. So whether you are able to win or not depends upon how strong is your practice. If you really, really practice hard and strength, then bodhicitta, wisdom, understanding, emptiness, naturally the other party will become weak and loose, and finally you can dislodge. So that's the process of practice. Two side, yes, you are right, two side. This is what you need to do. Okay.
जैसे कि मैं पॉलिटिकल साइंस बैकग्राउंड से बिलोंग करता हूँ, मुझे जैसे कि पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ कंपैशन की बात होती है, तो मैं जब भी बुद्धिस्ट हिस्ट्री पढ़ता हूँ, एक मेरे मन में डर सा पैदा होता है कि तिब्बतन के पास भी एक क्वालिटी थी, बोधिचिता जो भी है, लेकिन उन्होंने लूज कर दिया।
क्या लूज कर दिया?
अपना लैंड।
ठीक है।
मैं आपके प्राइम मिनिस्टर से भी मिला था।
हाँ,
तो ये क्वालिटी तो हमको विन नहीं करा सकती ना।
हाँ?
अल्टीमेट तो लैंड लूज करना पड़ गया।
नहीं उसको
मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर जिसके पास एक क्वालिटी है वो लूज कर जाएगा।
हाँ, ठीक, बिल्कुल ठीक है। ये मैंने पहले भी बोला था, because you asked this question in Hindi, I'll answer this in Hindi and I'll say a little bit in English also. यही सोचते हैं हम लोग. This is our thinking. So winning means what?
War.
Winning means gaining physical control. Physical control. Use nuclear bomb, ballistic missile, so many other things, and capture a country. Then we say he is the winner, that country is the winner. Do you think that country is the winner? Do you think the conflict happened between, not much, but little bit conflict happened between Tibet and China? You thought China won, Tibetans lost.
लेकिन एक पेन
This is
और
what saying. Answer.
यस और फिजिकल लेवल पे तो सही है।
हाँ, physical नहीं बोला मैंने. I just said, are you saying Tibetans lost and Chinese won?
हिस्ट्री में तो यही लिखा है।
So this is our mental attitude. All those countries which are using ballistic missile, bombs and killing other people, we are all saying these people are winning. Are you sure they are winning? Are you sure they are winning? So we need to have a fundamental change of mindset and thinking. You see? Fundamental. So if you start thinking that because somebody was practicing love and compassion and non-violence, Mahatma Gandhi, so therefore he is the loser. Martin Luther King is the loser. He was also killed, right? Nelson Mandela is also the loser because he was in the Robben Island for 20 years in the prison. He's a loser. Who are the winner? Mao Zedong, Hitler. So I'm not like trying to answer much, but I'm saying is you need to think carefully. What do you mean by the winner? What do you mean by the loser?
आपकी बात तो सही है। लेकिन मैं गोरखपुर से बिलोंग करता हूँ।
So what I'm saying is there are many cases, even if you think you are winning, actually you are the loser. Actually you are the loser. You thought you won, but you are the loser. We are thinking this from a spiritual point of view. I agree that physically we lost. That I agree.
मैंने जब मैं छोटा था तो मैं तिब्बतन को सफरिंग करते हुए मैंने देखा था।
क्या देखा?
मतलब कि वहाँ से आए तमाम तरह की उनकी दिक्कतें थी, घर भी नहीं थे, बहुत तरह के उनकी दिक्कतें होती थी। तो मुझे लगा यार ये कैसे मतलब नॉन वायलेंस की बात करते हैं, एक वायलेंट आदमी ने मार के भगा दिया।
So what is your remedy? Forget about Tibet. India remained under British rule how many years?
200. 400.
So you were the loser. You were the loser. And British was winner.
At least.
That's what I'm saying, you know. You need to think. I'm not like trying to rebuff your question, but with these things we need to think very carefully, keeping in mind the long-term perspective. Who is the winner? Even Buddha, he did not wage a war, but he is called victorious, the victor, because he controlled the negative emotions. Right? So the point that I'm really making is, unless you are able to gain control through love, through compassion, through patience, even if you kill hundreds and thousands of people, in the true sense of the term, you are not winner. You are loser because you will go to hell. Not in the future lives, even right now. Even right now, really, right now there's so many wars are going. Then you think about that. Both sides are suffering. Both sides are suffering, and they are stuck in that quagmire of war so much that millions of people, in the case of Ukraine and Russia, it's not only the Ukraine where you see a lot of destruction, but in Russia itself, the unemployment, the death, millions, I'm saying, soldiers died. You can't call it winning, right? So at the end of the day, you might get a piece of land on the dead bodies. Okay?
But Russians are thinking that it is for a secure future. Their future
Let people think in so many ways. People so many ways. I'm not trying to justify who is right, who is wrong. I'm just simply saying what is happening. Because it is very difficult to take sides. Because everybody has a reason. And there's a Tibetan saying which says, a son who has killed his father also has a reason to explain. When it comes to talking, a son who has killed his father also has an explanation. All right, thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.